if impermanence is evident to anybody. Communists can see
this is what I
impermanence.
was. It's different laws. I mean,
No,
what?
what's a different law? Sorry.
The law of karma and the impermanence.
Yeah,
I
of course.
had an explanation.
Okay.
This is why I'm confused.
No, good,
because
no, I understand. So
okay.
what do you think the law of karma is referring to? How do you think you would describe the law of karma, this natural law that Buddha talks about? How would you describe what it is? Based on what you've heard, here or anywhere else. What do you think it is?
I think that as a result of my...
more simple, more ordinary. More simple, more ordinary.
Cause and result. I mean, cause and effect.
Good, and in relation, in particular to what?
In particular to the reality that...
No, to yourself. And in terms, in particular, to happiness and suffering.
Okay.
So the Buddha's saying, everything you think and do and say will sow seeds in your mind that will produce future experiences. Every action that you do with your body, speech and mind that's labelled negative will sow seeds in your mind that will ripen as your future suffering. Every seed you sow in your mind that is a virtue will ripen as happiness. That's the essence of this natural law called the law of cause and effect in relation to happiness and suffering. That's the way of framing it. That's the law of karma. Buddhist teaching. And it's a natural law that runs the universe, or in which the universe runs, whichever word you prefer. Botany is the law that runs all growing things. Would you agree? Yeah. And there's no Mr. Botanist up there that's running the show, Buddha would say. It's just a natural law. Well, karma is the same. So because you don't want suffering, and you do want happiness, then you will learn to live according to this law.
So again, so the law of karma is regarding to
individual sentient beings. You learn it for yourself first and you get the teaching from it, and then you see that all beings are living in the law of karma and not knowing it, and so therefore causing themselves terrible suffering, which is why you then have compassion for them.
Okay, so the impermanent is another thing.
Impermanence is simply the way things exist. All Buddha's telling us is what he's observed as true. One is that everything exists according to the law of cause and effect. Another is that impermanence is the nature of everything that exists, that things change from moment to moment. Another is that he says we all cling to an inherent I. They're all levels of reality, all part of what he says is reality. He says that's reality. Impermanence is reality. Emptiness is reality. The law of karma is reality. There's different ways of his view of the universe. This is his science of the universe. Do you see?
Yeah, thank you.
And because everything is impermanent, then there's no karma we can't change. So we can apply it to the law of karma. It's highly dynamic. It's not set in stone. Yes?
If I understand the stages, as you said before, as you summarized, and I'm not sure I'm citing you precisely, but like if I cannot control my wish to smoke, even though I know it's not good. I cannot control many things in my own life. How dare I be compassionate to others before I'm not compassionate to myself? Why should I go and help this and that person? Maybe I do it for my own ego, whatever, so maybe I should drop it and just first take care of myself.
I understand. Yeah, Buddha would agree. If you're so overwhelmed by, let's say, forget the cigarettes, let's use the view about karma, let's say, or it's the same thing. If you're so overwhelmed by your own attachment, hurt, anger, depression, anxiety, jealousy, that we all understand those things, don't we? If we're so overwhelmed by all of that, we can't see it past our own nose. We can't even see what our husband wants. We can't even see how to help a dog because we're so overwhelmed by our own neuroses. It's true. So that's why you've got to first focus on those. It's absurd to ask you to go and help somebody else when you're so overwhelmed by your own junk. You'd end up making a mess to help people. So we've got to know where we're at. So if you can do a little bit of work on yourself and do a little bit less neurotic, then to that extent you can do a little bit to help others. Your ability to help others is completely related to your own development. It's logical. If you know no acupuncture, you can't help anybody with acupuncture. That's logical, isn't it? If you know 1 day of acupuncture, you can help to that degree. So the degree that you get less attached, less angry, less neurotic, less stealing, less lying, less killing, is that to that extent you can help a little bit others. So your compassion is utterly linked to your wisdom. As you progress internally for yourself, your capacity to see others and your ability to help them grows. They're naturally related.
Yeah, this I understand, but it's in a way for me it sounds like cause and effect. For example, if I'm still like I reduced my whatever passions, whatever, a little bit. Once I go and help someone else, it will be better. It's not that I shouldn't
Sorry,
do
wait,
it.
please stop. What do you mean by that? What do you mean better? What's better? What are you talking about?
It's very difficult for me to explain.
Yeah.
It's not that, okay, let's first take care of myself, leave all the rest, don't do anything. Just take care of yourself. But this is endless. I will not finish until
Okay,
I
so
die.
the question-
in the meantime,
I understand.
don't help any other one. Like, just sit in my
What's
home.
I don't get your
enjoy.
question. Say it in another way, completely differently. What's your question?
As long as I'm not perfect, I shouldn't help anyone else. Because I'm not perfect, and I will never be
But I
perfect.
answered before, and you said I understand that, which clear what you just said proves you didn't understand, because that was the answer. So what's your question? I don't think
I'm trying to
that's...
say that
Yeah.
on one hand there is for me,
Yeah.
my experience.
Uh-huh.
On one hand, there is the wish to be a better person, according to what I understand from Buddhism.
Uh-huh.
I don't like take care of my thoughts,
That's right,
feelings,
exactly.
etc.
That's good. That's the wisdom wing.
Okay.
And that helps you
Okay.
develop yourself. Then there's the compassion wing, which is on the basis of your ability to see your own suffering. You can now see the same in others. That's all. It's natural. It's a natural consequence. If I'm completely in a relationship with David, and I'm jealous and miserable and self-piteous and neurotic and I'm mean and I shout and yell and a brutal, horrible person, right? You hear me? I'm suffering, right? We don't like to say that because we think I'm a mean person and mean people aren't suffering. Because if she's suffering, you've got to feel sorry for me. We don't like doing that. But would you agree that I'm suffering?
Yeah.
And would you agree, therefore, I can only harm him? Would you agree with that? By definition, I can only...
Say it again, please.
Okay. If I'm angry, self-piteous, depressed, jealous, join the universe here, people. I'm describing all of us. Do you understand my point? To that extent, I'm miserable. Would you agree?
Okay.
And I can't see past my own nose, can I? I can't see anything else except what suits me. I see him through the lens of my neediness, my anger, my jealousy, my anxiety. Do you get my point? All I see is this. I only see him through the lens of my needs. Would you agree with that? Would you agree with that? And I'm suffering. This is what suffering is, Buddha says. Do you accept that so far? So then everything I do to him practically is going to be miserable. There's almost no there can't be kindness there. How could there possibly be? Because I'm so overwhelmed with my misery. So, as I lessen my own misery, and lessen my own neediness, and lessen my bad words, and lessen my jealousy, etc., I'll become more happy, won't I? Slightly more content, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
At the same time, simultaneously, without effort and logically, because I've removed some of the veils from my eyes, he will now appear differently. I'll actually see, gosh, he's got feelings. This is interesting. I never noticed before. Because I just saw him as an object of my needs. Now I'm going to see him more clearly. So compassion and kindness are a natural consequence of working on yourself. The compassion wing is just extra special, actively doing it. But it's natural. If you're happy and content in yourself and less jealous, you're naturally more kind. It's logical. You can't separate them. Now are we communicating?
Sort of, because I feel it's like waves. Sometimes it's more like this.
Sweetheart, it's because we're not stable in our practice. That's all.
Okay.
Can you see?
Second Life is not easy.
Definitely true. So, okay, I want to go a bit more detail about karma because I've just touched on it.
Can I ask,
Yes, Betty.
in consequence of what you've said, aren't there situations when we are forced to be in service of the other? I mean, it doesn't come naturally to us, but in very acute
Give an example.
emergency,
Give an example.
somebody is injured fatally, an
Yeah,
accident,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we know
Yeah.
that there is a mechanism in us.
No, no. If I'm a junkie, honey, and I am completely hysterical to get my next fix, I promise you, if my junk supplier is about to drive the car off in 1 minute and there's a person dying on the road, I don't think I have the power to let my junkie guy go. I would not have the ability. Even mothers for their babies, do you not notice? Mothers who are overwhelmed by their own attachment to their own dramas allow their babies to die. Have you not noticed?
I noticed.
That's the answer. So all I'm saying is, what?
There are also other cases where you do expect.
That means you've got access to your virtue. To the extent to which I have not access to my virtue is the extent to which my delusions are strong. That's all. They're logical. It's not as if suddenly the delusions disappear and become a saint.
But
What's your point? Okay, what's the
my
point?
point is, what I'm trying to say is
Uh-huh.
that this experience that sometimes you have, luckily, probably, I mean, it's a present that you're given, that you.
Excuse me, what? It's what?
There are situations where you find yourself.
Betty, what is your point? It sounds beautiful what you're saying, but what's the teaching in this? What's the teaching? Based on what we discussed here, what's the teaching?
The experience of being for the other is not creating the wisdom. I mean, you're realizing something that is helping you to get rid of the attachment.
That's a different discussion. I completely agree. But that's not the discussion here. Okay, thank you. It's a good point. Thank you, Betty. Fantastic point. I agree with you. When we discuss the compassion wing later, if I get to it, we'll discuss that. Oh dear.
We'll wait.
It's tea break. It's an urgent meeting I have to have. It's tea break. Please forgive me. Tea break.